Thanks so much for being with us here on Atlanta News First Plus. I just want to share with you some of the top stories that we're following right now. And I want to start with really a concerning story. This involves a Marta driver who actually died on the job behind the wheel of one of the Marta buses early this morning. So around 4:30 this morning, the bus operator had a medical emergency, according to Marta officials, while actually leaving a garage in Hamilton to start service for the day. This is according to Marta, what they said in a statement. So the bus came to rest against a pole near Empire Boulevard and Browns Mill Road, just caused some minor damage. Certainly it could have been a lot worse. Thankfully, no passengers were on board the bus when it did crash, Marta said. The bus operator had worked for Marta for 20 years, according to the company. Grief counselors are going to be at the Hamilton garage today to support employees there. But it's a story that we're going to continue to follow here on Atlanta News First and Atlanta News First Plus. Okay, let's talk a little bit about what's happening with the Cheshire Bridge. This is definitely not the news that drivers want to hear. If you live or work in this area, just be aware that there is going to be a little bit of a headache in this regard because the Cheshire Bridge is going to be closed a little bit longer than initially planned for repairs. So obviously, if you live in Northeast Atlanta, this is kind of a headache for you. And all of this, of course, follows a fire in December that shut it down. Atlanta News First reporter Rebecca Schramm has been spending the morning along Cheshire Bridge Road. That bridge was supposed to open in March, but that did not happen. Here is her report.
According to Atlanta's Transportation Department, several issues have slowed down the progress on the bridge repairs. You'll recall this is the second bridge on Cheshire Bridge that's been shut down in recent years because of fires underneath. This one is about a quarter mile from the bridge that was shut down for about 2 years. Both fires happened in areas under the bridges where homeless camps were situated. The damage from the more recent fire in December was projected to last 10 weeks. Well, now we are learning that construction has been delayed. The new projected date for reopening the bridge to traffic is mid-May. City transportation leaders say they've had problems with property access negotiations, site preparation, required document approvals, and inclement weather. People who live nearby have been telling us for months their patience is wearing thin.
It makes you wonder, what is the city doing, or the local officials, to make sure that this doesn't happen. I mean, this is the second bridge fire in a short span of time. I do love the area, but it does make you wonder, is it time to maybe look for something else? Because it is a huge inconvenience.
As you can imagine, business owners around here have been suffering. So we're going to check in with business owners today to see how they're feeling about this new information of more delays in reopening this bridge. In Northeast Atlanta, Rebecca Schramm, Atlanta News First.
All right, thanks to Rebecca for that report. Okay, let's talk about Atlanta making national headlines for not very good reason here. Really, actually, something pretty concerning. Data from the Centers for Disease Control is ranking Atlanta third for the highest rate of new HIV cases in the entire country. So there is a lot of work being done to stop this. Atlanta News First reporter Madeline Montgomery has more.
It's been 21 years since Barry Sermons made a spontaneous decision that saved his life.
So I had a sickle cell test, I had a hearing test, I had a glaucoma test, and a guy said, "Hey, come on over to my station." And I had an HIV test, not thinking that it was going to come back in any other way.
He'd been playing music at a health fair and decided he may as well visit the booths in the building. 2 weeks later, he got a call saying he was HIV positive.
It was very difficult, and my heart dropped in my stomach.
It's a scary diagnosis that more and more people are getting, according to the Centers for Disease Control. Atlanta's metro area had over 1,500 new cases in 2021. Why are those numbers picking up?
I think a lot of young people don't have that fear factor.
Jeff Cheek is the director for Fulton County's Department of HIV Elimination. He believes healthcare costs contribute to Atlanta's rising HIV numbers. There are entities that test for free, like the health department.
Prevention partners are funded by the CDC, and they do great work getting people tested. What our key is now is making sure that if you get tested, we get you into care.
Because many people will test positive and not seek help right away.
You're young and they think they're invincible. But part of it's, as you were saying, the stigma. I don't want my friends to know. I don't want my parents to see my pills. I don't want to have to stop and take medication so then everyone's going to know.
Getting help right away saved sermons.
I was down to about 150 pounds. My skin tone had changed. I was dying if I didn't get treated.
Madeline Montgomery, Atlanta News First.
And thanks so much to Madeline for that report. Okay, let's share with you a little update now on the cyber attack that happened in Fulton County. So this morning, more systems are back online. That's the good news here. And this comes after the cyber attack that really crippled several parts of the Fulton County government for months. Officials say phone access is now up and running again across Fulton County. We're told residents can now view the property tax system and make payments online and over the phone. E-filing for most courts, including the juvenile court system, are also back up and running again. Property record access is also available once again. And again, this is nearly 3 months after the initial cyber attack, but looks like things are finally getting back on track. Okay, let's talk about the forecast here. There's a First Alert Weather Day in place. First Alert meteorologist Courtney Jacobazzi taking a look at what we can expect.
Yeah, absolutely. So a pretty heightened threat for severe weather. In fact, one of the highest threats we've had in quite some time. It's been a while since we've had severe weather. Not necessarily severe weather in the form of damaging wind, but the tornado threat, definitely the highest we've seen in a long time. Last year was a very abnormal year when it came to our tornado count. In fact, we just had a meeting recently with GEMA, the Georgia Emergency Management Agency, and they told us that we had less than 10 tornadoes last year. And in a normal year for the state of Georgia, we get about 34 tornadoes or so. So definitely a very quiet year. Not that we're complaining about that, but this spring already starting to ramp up. And tonight is definitely one of those nights that you want to pay attention to. So our First Alert Weather Day for strong storms tonight. Our First Alert Weather Day, what that is for, when you hear us say that terminology, that means that you just need to pay extra attention to that day because the weather is going to change in a way that is going to impact you, whether it is severe weather in the case of tomorrow's First Alert Weather Day, because it'll be significantly cooler and also quite windy. We're going to take you through all of it. Lots of changing weather. In the meantime, as you are tuning in with us right now, you don't need to worry about any rain or storms as you are making your way through your day. So if you have lunch plans today, I know a lot of kids are on spring break. If you're trying to get them outside to the park and to go play, you'll have every opportunity to do so today. In fact, today's going to be pretty nice, mostly cloudy and pretty mild. By noon, we'll be in the low 70s. You'll notice the wind picking up. That's kind of a precursor to our weather system. And as we make our way towards 4 o'clock, temperatures in the low 80s. That's where we're topping out today. So another warm day. And again, breezy day with wind gusts upwards of 25, maybe 30 ahead of that front. And then 7 o'clock, so if you have any dinner plans tonight, your evening commute, all of that looks dry with temperatures in the upper 70s by 7. Here's a look at the timing, and then we'll kind of take you through one of our latest forecast models. In fact, we just got an updated model in just a couple of minutes ago, so we'll take you through it. But I wanted to just give you kind of the general overview, and this really is just letting you know why it's so important to have something like our First Alert Weather app. If you do not have it, I'll take you through how to download it in just a minute. When you have an overnight threat for severe weather is never a great thing to have in the forecast, but it's particularly bad when it comes in the overnight hours when you're going to be sleeping. So we'll start watching Northwest Georgia around 9 tonight, and then it'll move south into North Metro around midnight, and then move into Metro Atlanta between around midnight and 2 a.m., and then between 2 and 4, we'll look south of the city and east of the city, places like Athens down to Eatonton into Griffin, LaGrange, for those storms to continue. So again, I can't stress enough with it being an overnight threat. You want to have the First Alert Weather app. Here's a look at what that entails. So you want to search ANF First Alert Weather. That'll take you to the app in the App Store. And then you can get video forecasts throughout the day. I did one this morning. First Alert meteorologist Ella Dorsey is about to give you an update there. You'll get severe weather alerts, which is the most important thing for the overnight hours. It will give you an alert on your phone that is actually audible. You can hear it, and make sure you have your volume up on your phone tonight. We're giving you that warning, that first alert, that heads up that you'll need to do that tonight. And you can also track the storms on First Alert Radar, and also look into the future with Futurecast with this app. A really, really, really good tool to have. Now, severe weather is not only for us today, it is for a huge swath of the eastern half of the United States. In fact, a tornado outbreak more than likely for parts of the Ohio River Valley, including Cincinnati, Ohio, Dayton, Ohio. It looks like a pretty significant severe threat extending into the Tennessee Valley, and of course here in the southeast. This is is the latest update from the Storm Prediction Center. This came in around 9 o'clock, and it did increase. So our threat for severe weather continues to look worse for us. When you have a level 3 out of 5 threat, that's a moderate on the scale. What that means is that scattered severe storms are likely. When you have a level 1 or 2, which is the yellow color and the green color, that means isolated severe storms are either possible or isolated severe storms are more likely. When you get into that orange color, which is the level 3, that's when it's more scattered severe storms are likely or possible. So all of the state underneath at least a level 2 with areas from Atlanta points west under that level 3. And here's a look at, actually, let me back up really quick. So all modes of severe weather are possible. Let's start with that. We're looking at damaging wind, the potential for maybe some small hail, tornadoes also possible, and very heavy rain is going to be embedded within this. So not only are we going to have to worry about the severe weather potential, but when you pair heavy rain and very gusty wind, that could lead to the potential for some downed trees and power lines. And again, this is happening overnight, so can't stress enough to have that way to receive weather warnings. Now that I kind of told you that all modes of severe weather are possible, this is the one we're focusing on because this is something we haven't seen in a very long time. We are entering into severe weather season. Tornadoes do come with that, unfortunately, here in the southeast. So here's the latest from the Storm Prediction Center showing you that the severe threat has increased, particularly in the threat when it comes to tornadoes. So what you're looking at on your screen, that yellow color there, that's a 10% risk for a tornado. Not necessarily super high, but the concern with this is you see those dashed lines there? We call that hatched in the meteorology world. And when you're under a hatched area like that, that gives you the notification that long track tornadoes are possible. So when you see those dashed lines, that indicates to us that the environment is going to be volatile enough that long track tornadoes are possible in the forecast. And that does include downtown Atlanta, still a 5% risk for the rest of the area as well. So tornadoes, definitely a possibility as we head through the overnight. Again, that timing between around 9 p.m. moving through downtown Atlanta between around midnight and 2 a.m. Let's take you through the latest forecast model here and show you kind of hour by hour what to expect. Here comes the front around 9 o'clock. Now, notice those little cells that are, I'm actually going to take the screen full for you so you can see it a little bit better. Notice those little cells that are out ahead of the line there as we go. Let me come back. There we go. Sorry, guys. My bad. I clicked the wrong button. My nails are way too long to be touching all these little buttons. Anyway, as we go towards 9 o'clock, you see those little cells firing up in places like Carroll County, Douglas County, parts of Paulding County. Those little cells out ahead of the main line can usually take, or they are prone to, I should say, take advantage of the wind shear. That's the spin in the atmosphere. And so we'll be watching those very carefully around 9 o'clock. In the meantime, the physical cold front moving into far northwest Georgia, bringing very heavy rain and damaging wind. You see kind of that line moving in, that stout line moving into far northwest Georgia. That's indication to me of very gusty wind. Now here's 11 o'clock. Again, this is the latest model. So really, I guess we're looking at between 11 and 2 a.m. for Metro Atlanta. And this is why the Storm Prediction Center increased that risk with that hatched risk for a tornado. So here's 11 o'clock at night. Now, what you're going to notice, see the little kind of purple color just above Carrollton there, south of Atlanta? They look almost like little dots. When you see that on a futurecast model, that indicates to us as meteorologists that these are supercells forming. And supercells, while they aren't a strong Boeing line of storms, they're the small but mighty ones. They're the ones that'll take advantage of that wind shear and create those severe storms, including a tornadic cell. So when you see those little kind of cellular look there, as this line moves through, that indicates to us that supercell storms are possible, and that will continue across Metro Atlanta as we make our way towards 1:30. Important, a lot of you are asleep at this time. At this point, also potentially impacting places like Athens, down to Eatonton, into Griffin, and then that line pushes completely east of the city by 3. So places from Athens to Eatonton, you'll deal with the severe weather the latest. But again, we'll start watching for severe weather around 9 with impacts in Metro Atlanta between around 11 and 2 a.m. And then it will finally clear the area by around 4. Tomorrow morning, you're making your way out to work. The wind is going to be whipping, and we are going to be dry, though. So that's the good news. Tomorrow, much cooler. We continue our first alert weather day because of the drastic change in the weather. We'll go from 80s today to low 60s tomorrow for highs, some spots in the upper 50s. And the wind is going to be gusting from start to finish tomorrow with gusts upwards of 30 miles per hour possible. We're going to stay cool through the rest of the week. 60s tomorrow, but highs only in the mid to upper 50s Thursday and Friday. So if you have tickets to that Braves home opener on Friday, you need to bring a jacket with you. It's going to be a cold one and still a little on the breezy side. We'll rebound back into the 70s by Sunday. But take a look at this. Our overnight lows might even be a bigger story. It's going to feel like the beginning of, or at least the end of January. So kind of heading into the end of winter, it'll feel more like winter as we head into Friday and Saturday with overnight lows in the 30s Friday and Saturday. So that's what it'll feel like as you step out the door for the weekend. Let's take a look at your First Alert 7-day forecast. So again, today is our First Alert weather day. The 20% chance of rain is really just for the evening hours when we think you'll still be out and about. If you open up our First Alert weather app, it'll show you that 80 to 100% chance of rain overnight, because that's when we're expecting most of the storms. Again, I said it multiple times. I'll say it again. Have a way to receive weather warnings tonight multiple ways. That's a weather radio. That's our First Alert weather app. If any kind of tornado warning does happen overnight, which we do anticipate that possibility, it's more than likely going to be the case tonight, unfortunately. We will be live on air from start to finish to get you through that warning from start to finish, to track that tornadic cell as it makes its way through wherever that pops up, if that's the case. A few lingering showers possible tomorrow. I don't think we're going to get by completely dry tomorrow. Maybe a few wraparound showers. The bigger story tomorrow will be the cooler temperatures and the wind, with temperatures only in the mid to upper 50s to low 60s, with wind gusts upwards of 30. And then we're colder to round out the week, waking up in the 30s Friday and Saturday, with highs only in the 50s Thursday and Friday. And then the weekend looks really nice. The highs in the 60s Saturday, 70s Sunday. It looks like as we head into next week, we do have another unsettled pattern. So we'll introduce a small rain chance on Monday. But the big focus is tonight for our First Alert weather day, where severe storms are likely, including the potential for tornadoes, starting around 9 o'clock in far northwest Georgia, and then spreading into Metro as we make our way past 11 p.m. through about the 2 a.m. time frame. So be sure you are ready for that, and you are turning your volume on loud on your devices before you go to bed, so you could be woken up if there are any severe storms that pop up while you're asleep tonight. All right, everyone, we will continue to keep you posted on the forecast on this First Alert weather day. As we get new information, we'll get another couple of updates from the Storm Prediction Center before the event actually happens. We will send those updates out to your phone on the First Alert weather app. Just another great reason to have it. But our team will be here overnight and throughout the rest of the day to keep you informed and safe as we prepare for one of the more significant severe threats that we've seen in quite some time here in North Georgia. All right, everyone, stay safe tonight, and we will catch you here next time.